Shalom. First off, let me give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Kakadash. Yahweh being the true name of Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being named for his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to our apostles, double honors to our elders, great millstone, Natasha's truth and will well, and citations to you, hopefully, like questions, truth, and honesty, sincerity. This is Brother Yahweh Sop, coming to you now, lesson to the spirit power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. This lesson's going in the spirit, man. Just meditating some more on some videos that brothers have sent in the chat, as well as just in general, everything that's going on with these guys, these false camps, these self-proclaimed leaders of Israel. You know, a lot of stuff going on with their leaders falling, men and fell out. Basically, you know, dudes like they call himself the deacon, you know, Assad Akah. You know, you have another dude by the name, he calls himself Gorilla Hebrew. You know, a lot of those men have huge scandals that came out within this past year. Most recently, what's going on with Genesis, and there are no more. But you know, I was meditating on it, and you know, the way these guys went out, and a lot of the actions and decisions that they made, you know, it points towards a lot of the spirit of what you see in this post. You know, really men going head over heels for women and making poor decisions to, you know, to catch the attention of women. You know, bringing women to the congregation and things like that. And both men are now basically been brought out with so much scandals, and they're both dealing with the same exact spirit, the same topic, which is women. You know, but these guys were never right to begin with. You know, they were never in the truth to begin with. And people get involved in this truth for the wrong reasons. You know, exactly the same way they get involved with women for the wrong reasons. Okay? And everything they do to be seen of men, you know, and gimmicks, and to try to make money off this ministry. You know, and both men went out bad behind a woman. But this post says here, it says, King Solomon had 700 wives, unlimited power, and every pleasure known to man. He spent his life chasing women. Then he wrote one sentence that changes everything. Solomon ran the largest experiment in human history: 700 wives, 300 concubines, and absolute power to pursue whatever he wanted. He tested pleasure at a scale no modern billionaire could match. He searched for happiness, peace, and meaning in women. He found only emptiness. In Ecclesiastes, written near the end of his life, he delivered a cold final verdict. I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets. These are the words of an architect who inspected his own foundation and found it rotten. He built his life on the wrong thing and paid the full price. Okay, and King Solomon was considered the wisest man on earth, and this is actually one of the reincarnations of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name, Yahushai. Okay, but King Solomon was basically perfect, besides the fact that he took on wives and worshipped his heathen wives or heathen concubines. He worshipped their false idols and gods along with them. Eventually, they pulled his heart into doing what they were doing, which is the same fall that happened with Adam and Eve. You remember, Adam was, you know, minding his own business. Eve came in contact. Eve, with them wanton eyes and curiosity, as they say, curiosity killed the cat, as they say, came in contact with the spiritual demon Satan and got tempted in the garden and listened to him and rapped with him and accepted Satan's, you know, culture, knowledge, philosophies, and she ate of that forbidden fruit. Okay? Because another man told her to do it, and, you know, outside of her husband. And then men make the decisions nowadays to follow a matriarchic lifestyle of women worship and listening to women's wisdom and following after their wives. So when you base your life into pleasing and making a woman happy, you will have the most detrimental downfall and heartbreak that you ever experienced before. And these men, these false leaders, had to learn that the hard way, because we warned them. We didn't just warn them about women and bringing women in their congregations. We also warned them about their, behaviors and conduct outside of women, which mainly their problem was making merchandise of this truth, making profit off this truth, monetizing their videos, gimmicks, the whole rapping stuff, and trying to become popular and trying to become a mega church, which they basically did in a roundabout way become that. But it was built off of sin and things outside of the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And now you got cowards such as Alazar, making videos, okay, falsely accusing that all the behaviors they were doing because they were taught by a great millstone. And that's a goddamn lie. Scriptures say you should not bear false witness. And so he did some clips of the apostles speaking on those topics. And basically, they changed the meaning of, he did clips of the video to change the meaning of the point they were coming across. Is if a woman is being a distraction of your walk and serving the Lord, then cut her off. Cut her and the kids off if they're pulling you away from teaching this word and doing this truth. So if you get to the point to where you're basically putting the work of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai on the back burner, okay, you're not doing any videos, you're not going to camp, you find yourself trying to have a rap career to get more women and get the appreciation, the love of women, because they love all the worldly stuff. So you start doing a bunch of worldly things, from the fashion, the businesses they create, okay, the music they come out with, and their style and teaching. They have to get women involved, and they basically use their women to get to a point where you got to run it through their women before it gets any type of approval. Is this going to be accepted amongst the women? Is this going to please women? Is this going to bring more women to the congregation for other brothers to get? So they base their whole ministry around making a woman or making their wives happy. And the scriptures warn about that. Okay? You're supposed to love Yahweh Shai more than your own family and your women. Meaning you put the Lord first. Okay? You don't put pleasing women and achieving things of the world over this work and this ministry. And a lot of things they did gave out a lot of evidences that that's what these men were doing, and that became their downfall. So these guys are going to be facing a lot of issues now because it's hammer time. The Lord isn't playing. He allowed them to do what they wanted to do. He hardened their hearts long enough to where they thought that what they're doing was righteous and right, but behind closed door, a lot of evil and wickedness was going on behind these men. From, coveting their fellow brothers. IUIC's been notorious for doing that. All these groups been notorious for doing that. Coveting, okay, adultery, gimmicks, teaching for filthy lucre's sake. All right, women worship, and then all of a sudden, the Lord just took the spirit. The spirit was never on them, but what little spirit, what little good wisdom that they had, the Lord took it all. They eventually denounced the name of the Lord, which his true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai. And that's the trademark token symbol that the Lord does to people he rejects. People that quote unquote follow this truth. When the Lord rejects them, all of a sudden this truth is labeled as a cult. And all of a sudden the name of the Lord is not Yahweh. The name of his Son is not Yahweh Shai anymore. Okay? And all of a sudden the name is back to Jesus. And they just do away with anything of being a Hebrew Israelite. And that's exactly what has happened. Okay? So that's the consequence when you put the world above the Heavenly Father. This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25. It says, who changed the truth of Yahweh into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections. Right. So those that try to change the truth of the Lord into a lie, and you start worshiping, the creature more than creator. Start worshiping, Esau, Edom, and his economy. Okay, the things you can pursue to get in his empire and his kingdoms. You start bowing yourself down to that more than the Lord. Because the doctrine has been set by men that cannot be bribed, which is the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, and their apostles and elders that taught them, so on and so forth. The doctrine was set, and you stick to that doctrine, man. Okay? If you don't endorse sound doctrine, then you won't make it in the truth. Period. Okay? It says, for this cause, Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections, right? So, vile, when you look up that word vile, it says extremely unpleasant affections. Okay, which these men have set their affections on things such as homosexuality. You heard about the whole pagan kit scandal, that thing that went down with that. He had an infection for that. All right, and it came out that the guy, had a history of that. The apostles in Dallas spoke on that, man. Some of the reasons why this cat was kicked out was for the same reason that his woman exposed him for. And then this pussy gonna make a video, trying to say that Great Millstone teaches us to abandon our families and not take care of our wives. He video clipped some videos of the apostles saying certain things, which they've taken that out of context. The context of them speaking on those topics and what they said was applying to if you're dealing with women or kids that are giving you an issue to make your walk damn near impossible in this truth and serving the Lord, then you have to put the Lord first, and you got to distance yourself from that. And that's only if they're giving you a problem. If you got a wife and she's not giving you any issues, like you're going to have some issues. I don't want to say not giving you any, but if she's not giving you issues to the point to where it's preventing you from teaching this word or becoming a problem from teaching this word, okay, then you can still deal with her. But if she is, like, for example, I had a woman I dealt with, and the woman got so damn out of pocket, out of order, she was scoffing and scorning, and she got to the point to where she hopped on the camp page and said some bullshit, scoffing, so I'm not about to bring that to the brothers. Women start getting that point to where they want to get sabotaging and detrimental issues. You got to cut them off. So she's no longer, that's it. She's done. She's been put away. She came against the ministry. Are they arguing to the point to where you're so stressed out that you can't do a lesson? Are they trying to pull your time away, saying, hey, you put the Lord more, you love me, you love the brothers more than me, all you do, you spend your time. Hey, we go out to camp once a week, and throughout the week, bros just do lessons, when they have time to be able to do them. They push out shows, and the shows be, you can do a show as quick as 10 minutes. Bros do multiple lessons throughout the week, and you got time on the weekend to go fellowship and do the work of the Lord. So the brothers realistically only take out, maybe 2 days tops out your week. The rest of the days, you got 7 days in a week, damn it. So 5 other days, these women have you because, they, some cases they may live with you, or maybe they have their own place, but they get all that time. But, what it is women is nothing is ever good enough, and the goalpost always moves. So that's why it's better just, if you are a servant and of being in this truth, and you're a prophet and you're actively a member and you're out there teaching highways and hedges, you'll have less stress if you don't pursue having a wife. But some brothers come into this thing with wives. We're not telling you that you just got to put them away, but as long as they're not causing problems for you to be able to do this work, then that's okay. And that's all the apostles and elders were saying. But if it is a problem, leave them. If your kids is being a problem, where you can't do the work of the Lord because your kids take up that much of your time, then you gotta pick and choose. Okay, you gotta find balance in this truth. But men take that because they don't want to have any balance. They don't want any type of structure. They don't want to agree with the structure provided from their leaders, their elders. They don't want to take counsel. They don't want to be told what to do. Okay, so they'd rather give all their time, most of their time, to their family. When it comes time to say, hey, look, you got to dedicate towards this and teach. You have balance. Give your family their time, but give the Lord his time. The Lord said, give unto Caesar's what Caesar's. But when it comes to tithing, give unto the Lord what's the Lord's. Some of these men, they just want to give everything unto Caesar and give nothing for the Lord. So with the apostles and elders to edify on it, they spoke on these things, saying, hey, if they're much of an issue, then cut them off. And they said it, in a way that's going to be, people say, call it austere. They weren't as nice about when they said it, but the point is there. Yeah, you can leave your women if they cause you a problem in this truth, man. And if a woman is causing you a problem in this truth where you can't give the ministry, the body, 2 to 3 days of your week, a woman's that goddamn selfish, then she's going to be just as selfish even if you're not in the truth. And that's what men don't, they fail to see. Okay? Men like Deacon, because he did that. He went ahead and gave the woman everything she asked for, what she wanted. And guess what? At the end of the day, still wasn't good enough. Obviously, she wanted more, and it became a problem. And there was things that she didn't agree with the amount of money that he required from her to spend on that lifestyle that she wanted to maintain and live up, that he worked so hard to to build to impress her and all his other wives. Okay, so his heart was given over to women, and the women being a weaker vessel, all of a sudden now she's doing a 5-part series exposing dude. Okay, for all the coveting that he'd been doing, with her and other wives, and she is out of order. She's off. If you got a problem with your husband, that's supposed to be dealt within the privacy of your household. And if you're put away, okay, then just stay put away until you be reconciled. You don't go making a 4-part series video and hopping on comment boards and doing all that other shit. That shit's out of order. And in the ancient world, she would have got the death penalty behind shit like that. That's what women don't get. They don't respect their place. They don't accept their place, okay, which is to be silent and to be submissive and be quiet and be supporting and seek righteous men. Instead, they seek wicked men like Deacon. So you got wicked rewards. Ain't no sense in going on, the videos and doing videos about it. That's what you got wet after, and you chased. That's what these women want, man. You wanted a pimp of the world, so you got pimped out. That's just what it is. And you had righteous men that gave you the warning prior to you making that decision to go be with that man, but you still chose that, So vile affections were given up. These men received vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use, that which is against nature. That goes into women that want to live a lifestyle of women, being with another women, laying down. That's a vile affection. So people that live like a momo behavior, a man want to be with a man, a woman want to be with a woman, this scripture labels that as a vile affection. Okay, it says, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one toward another. Right, so all of a sudden you have a scandal coming out talking about a pagan kid. That's a vile affection. So when you start changing the truth into a lie, the Lord punishes men and women like that by giving them up unto vile affections. And sometimes it may not just be homosexual lifestyle. He can give you up into a vile affection of just start worshiping other gods, other idols, going into other religions. You may return to your own vomit, going back to paganism, which is Christianity. Okay, that whole religion deals with a lot of paganism, so they can just get a vile affection to go back to that. Okay, or you may want to follow Billy Carlson, going into the Anunnaki bullshit, weird stuff, Egyptology, astrology. Okay, the worship of women. All of a sudden, woman's a god. Or you might go back to Islam. All those vile affections. Okay. Likewise, the men leaving the natural use of a woman. A man that likes a man. All of a sudden, he wants a pegging thing going up his rectum. That's sick. That's a vile affection. And the crazy part about it, dude wanted his woman to do it to him, and wanted a Edomite to watch the whole thing and do it to her. That's a vile affection. It says, burn in their lusts one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves the recompense of the error which was met. And even as they did not like to retain Yahweh in their knowledge, Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Okay? So a reprobate mind, if you look at this word reprobate, it says unprincipled, depraved, or morally corrupt. So what's morally acceptable, people are going to do the opposite of that. So they get on like drugs, all of a sudden they back smoking again. Like I say, worshiping different gods, or they may get in homosexual lifestyles. All right. All these fall into this category right here we're reading about. And to do those things which are not convenient. Right. So then they go and actually start doing actions that are off. All of a sudden they got fucking demon shit in their head and crystal skulls and shit, witchcraft stuff all up in their house. We've seen it, man. It says, being filled with all unrighteousness and fornication, wickedness, covetous, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate. Hey, that's a big thing they love to do, debate, right? All these debate shows they did. They based their whole ministry off debating somebody. It's sad. Deceit. Okay, so deceived all these women. They got pimped out in those groups. Malignity. Okay, so treating men and women terrible. Blackmailing them. Okay, coveting, stealing, scamming their members. They pay for all these thousands of dollars to go to these academies that they set up, and these Patreons they had set up. People paid all this money to them groups, man. Are they getting a refund? No. It says whisperers, backbiters. That's what they're doing, making videos now. They're trying to backbiters make videos on us. We ain't got nothing to do with you deciding to go do a pagan shit, man. We got nothing to do with you deciding to pimp out women in your congregation. We got nothing to do with that. It says haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things. Right? Inventing all these different off-the-wall doctrines, man. Despiteful. They despise righteous men. Despise order. Despise correction. Proud. Look at me. All of a sudden, they done rented a throne chair at the Passover. And they having a big party and he auctioning off wives and stuff, man. This all those things were going on, man. Boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. Okay, all these are attributes. They're all attributes of wicked men that choose to change up things, man. Okay, it says, let's see here. It says, verse 31, without understanding, covenant breakers, right? You made a covenant to serve the Lord. When you found out that you're a Hebrew Israelite and you start calling upon that name, you spiritually made a covenant to the doctrine, to this truth. You accepted the Lord in your heart and you changed it. You changed it for money and getting women. That's it. A spade's a spade. Okay? It says without natural affection. Right, these people are narcissists. Narcissism deals with people that don't have natural affection. Okay? They cannot feel it. All right, it's just your turn. They're in love with what people do for them, not in love with the actual person. They're in love with the image that people see of them. They think that they're above. You know, I've had people telling me, "Well, I'm above you." You know, that's that proud, wicked, demonic spirit, narcissistic spirit. That's without natural affection, which is why it's so easy for them, you know, to go pimp out a woman, okay, or to turn a man into merchandise, man. You know, take advantage of men, to scam somebody, change a doctrine to get some scam money, man. Click here. Let's get the likes up. Donate here. Donate now. Let's pay for this school. And they set up all this stuff, man. They had a counseling set up, marital counseling. Yeah, how are you gonna be a marital counselor and you can't even keep your marriage? How you gonna counsel somebody you ain't had zero training for? You ain't been to no damn training to be somebody's marital counselor. Who these men really set themselves up to be guys and everything? Like they done went to fucking college for this shit, man. They got zero type of professional training and none of the things that they were doing. They're just all self-proclaimed everything. And the Lord ain't dealing with that. He deals with everything done in decency and in order. It says, who knowing the judgment of Yahweh, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. So they know better. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they don't care. And then they start convincing themselves. They know what they're doing is wrong, but then the sick part about it, they start convincing themselves that what they're doing is right. They start believing their own lies. And that's when it becomes, hey, there's no looking back. And the Lord got him in a trick bag. He allowed Satan to bless them with gifts. And he's like, all right, Satan, they're in your hand. He's saying, like, all right, cool, bet. Gave him all these gifts, gave him all the money, the G-Wagons, the multiple wives, and all this stuff, man. All the fame. They popping up on talk shows. You know, even some men, even I think IUIC, I think they've even made an appearance on BET. You know, they get on national television, getting interviews. And you're doing interviews with Vlad and all sorts of shit. All that got to your head. The Lord allowed Satan to give you a lot of stuff. But Satan always comes to collect. I just spoke on that, man. Eventually, Satan's going to come to collect. You spiritually, you sold your soul. You sell out. You sold out on a personal level. You didn't meet. Some of them didn't meet with a so-called white man in a black three-piece suit that's a part of the Illuminati. They just privately sold their soul to Satan by choosing to do all those actions. And that's what these people do every day. Jake does it every single day, man. You know, who says, who knowing the judgment of Yahweh, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So not only do they do this wickedness, they love doing the wickedness, man. They're, you know, when they did all these tears and these videos and they crying on camera, they're only crying because they got caught. They don't cry because they feel guilty or bad for what they've done to other people to get the success they had. That's not why they're crying, because they feel sad or guilty. Narcissists don't cry because they feel bad at what they've done to someone else. They don't feel bad for what they do. They don't feel anything. They feel the greatest love and joy and happiness when they feel they successfully got revenge on somebody. Okay, when they do something cruel to get back or put someone down or make someone feel like, you know, the narcissist person is above them. You know, so as long as they can make somebody feel like they're inferior, that's when they feel love and happiness. That's the only thing that makes these people happy, man. Or when they're perceived, or people look at them as somebody that is smart, intelligent, wise, or rich, or beautiful, or handsome, or sexy. That's what they're in love with. They're in love with that. They don't actually love anybody. These are completely sinister, evil people. Okay? They have pleasure. It says, have pleasure in them that do them. That's how these evil people are, man. And we warned you of it all. The brothers of GMS, man, try warning you about people like this, of it all. We do rebuke videos. We've done sit-downs. We've done lessons. And all these people do the public that watched. Okay, all they did is come at us for doing that when we tried to warn you. So, all you that have been affected, fuck you. You deserve it. Straight up. Don't come around us now saying, hey, you was right. Yeah, you probably should apologize, but hey, the forgiveness, ultimately you're gonna have to apologize to the Heavenly Father, and it's up to Him to decide whether or not He wants to forgive you for the shit you've done. And we can forgive you on a regular level in the flesh. We can say we forgive you, fuck it, I ain't mad at you about it no more. But we can forgive, but we don't forget. And I don't want nothing to do with these cats, man. Don't come around us. Don't come around us, man. All you people that follow these other groups, hey, the sheep have been scattered. The Lord smote the wicked shepherds, and the sheep have scattered. And they're going to be looking for another shepherd, and don't come looking this way. Yeah, you can listen and learn on your own, and you can repent and go teach on your own, but you've already betrayed our trust forever on a personal level. For those of you that accepted all this other lifestyle outside of the truth, if you came across this truth and you called yourself being baptized, you partook in Passovers, you repented, all of that XYZ, but you left to go back to pursue something else and did as dirty as fuck on your way out, to hell with you people, man. May Yahweh Shem Yahushai judge you grievously, and we wish the worst upon you. That's it, man. That's what you deserve. And you honestly, when you reflect on everything that you have done, and you really think about it, you really deserve all the punishment that the Lord's going to bring to y'all. Y'all deserve it. Don't be mad at us. Just take it. Take your punishment, man. There's a couple of precepts. This is Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Okay? So you're supposed to do things for the Heavenly Father, not to please men, not to receive praises of men. 2 Timothy 2:15. Do your best to present yourself to Yahweh as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, and who correctly handles the word of truth. Okay? So you should be able to do this and be able to do it in your heart freely, that it's approved. Not that you secretly got something going on, you're worried about coming out, that you're going to be ashamed of. That means you're not right within your spirit. And you got no business standing up on a platform trying to proclaim yourself being a prophet if you know this is all the bullshit you got going on. Take some accountability, Jake. Okay? This is 2 Timothy 4:5. It says, but you keep your head in all situations, endure hardship, do the work of an evangelist, discharge all the duties of your ministry. There you go, man. So endure this. You're going to come through suffering. You're not going to go through this truth without taking any type of licks, man. You got to endure it and push through it. This is 1 Esther 4:23. It says, yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers, and looketh upon a lion and goeth in the darkness. And when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love. Right, so a man will do all that wickedness just for love, man. Some men want to sell out and try to make the truth into a gimmick and a rap video to please they women. Oh, I can get more than one wife? Oh, bet. Let me go ahead and make some money off of it. I could do this better. That's what Jake goes through his head, man. I'm going to start another group and I'm going to name it this. Oh, the name of the Lord isn't this, it's that. And they do a bunch of stuff that, they know niggas gravitate to. The gimmicks for attention. The clothing they get. We all going to wear matching shirts. We're going to have gold borders and we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to set up marriages. We're going to have this party at the Passover, this, and that. All that stuff, man. All for women. It says, wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yea, many there be that have run out their wits for women and have become servant for their sakes. Right, man. They lose their mind over women. It says, many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Yet did I see him, and Apame, the king's concubine, the daughter of Admiral Baraticus, sitting at the right hand of the king. So many lose their mind over women, man. They have died. You got men doing life sentences behind women. These women ain't worth it. Let them have it. Because it doesn't matter what you give them. At the end of the day, they still going to come against you and betray you. So don't give your heart unto women that destroyed kings. King Solomon went down, got destroyed. Out of all the wisdom of being the wisest man in the world, he got taken down by a woman. And the Lord used a woman to take down these other wicked men you see with all these scandals going on now. And Alazar's only defense, as you can see, still all women minded, resorts back to women. You remember when he said this, that you said that you have to leave your wife and you need to use them for money. See? This is what he said. See? Trying to take the heat off this guy. No, he just got caught in all these text messages of taking it up the ass by a woman and Edomite men. What the hell? Using a pagan kid. What type of shit? You have no credibility. But still, over women. This is Proverbs 31:3. It says, give not thy strength unto women, nor ways to that which destroyeth kings. You don't give your strength unto a woman. You got to be able to walk away, as hard as it is. So if you're getting that damn in love, then you're trapping yourself. If you can't walk away, you got to be able to walk away, because the women are ready to walk away at the drop of a hair of her head. She's ready to walk away, which that happens regularly. It don't take much for nothing for a woman to leave a man and go be with another one. They cheat over anything. They don't care, and you won't ever catch them. Most times it's rare you're going to find out. They'll lie to your face and be with you for 10, 20 years knowing that they done slept with 5, 6, 10, 20 men behind your back. You know, and call you the abuser. But you know how much mental abuse that is? To do that to somebody else? It's devastating. They just brush it off as like it's nothing. They don't care. So why give your heart to them, man? Why give your strength to them? Don't do that shit. Because as soon as your money don't pay a certain way, what do? They step. Proverbs 19:20. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mightest be wise in thy latter end. There are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of Yahweh that shall stand. So listen, man. Listen to your apostles and others that are doing lessons and teaching you. And you had counsel. You know, that dude Alazar, he had counsel. They told him about the bullshit he was doing with women all the way back years ago. He didn't take heed to that. He didn't receive none of the instruction. There are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of Yahweh that shall stand. If you listen to the counsel of the Lord, it shall stand. When you want to change the doctrine up to please these hoes, then you're not going to stand. You're going to fall. And you're going to fall to hoes. Micah 7:5. Trust ye not in a friend, put ye not confidence in a guide, keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. So you almost can't even vent to these women at home. It's not even safe, because something that you might be insecure about, or something you struggle with, maybe something really bothers you. You have some type of weakness, and sometimes everybody likes to vent to something that bothers them, and your significant other should be there that you should be able to vent to. But what women will do, they take what you tell them and they put it in their pocket. And they purposely try to get you to tell them things about you, very personal things, just so they can weaponize it the moment they get mad. The moment you tell them, hey, look, you're ready to walk away because they're being out of order. They don't want to take accountability and stop the behavior they're doing. They rather deflect that you're the problem. That's called gaslighting. And then they'll bring that out their pocket, which you told them. They'll bring it right on out. And then they'll tell you, they'll throw it at your face, use it against you to hurt your feelings, hurt your heart. And then they'll go throw it in all the rest of the men that you're closest to, your brothers. And next thing you know, you got a 4-part series video coming out. That's what they do. That's how they get down. That's why the scripture's in place. Okay? We read about Samson and Delilah. He loved her so much, he done told her all his damn secrets that, if he does specific things, he'll lose his spiritual power. And he told her the exact things, that how to lose it. So guess what she did? She weaponized it. She saw opportunity to make some money for the Philistines. That was her loyalty. That was her heart too. All it took is for one man to butter her up in her ear. So it didn't matter all the incredible stuff that Samson did for her, how good he was to her. At the drop of a dime, randomly, out of nowhere, she came against him and cut his locks. Or actually, they were braids, not dreadlocks. You see that word locks in that scripture, by the way? It was talking about braids. It wasn't talking about dreads. Just want to throw that out there. But, yeah, she cut him and he lost his power, man. Women have destroyed kings. They're the first to sin, man. That's why we read in that photo. It says, I find more better than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. Right, man. And Solomon, he did the test run for you already. If you're trying to test something out to see if this word is true, if you can still, weed around and get around the warning of the Bible, then maybe your woman, not her, she won't do you wrong. Not my wife, she's never committed adultery on me. She'll never scoff. She'll never, do a 4-part serials video on me. She's loyal. She'll never cheat on me. Not mine, not mine, not mine. I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. What Solomon said. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And what did he say? Ecclesiastes 7. All right, and I'll read this again. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out their count, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. So out of 1,000, he got one good man, one righteous one. He found a brother. But out of the same amount, out of 1,000 women, didn't find not one good one. This is a man that had 700 of them, man. 700 wives and 300 concubines. It's almost 1,000 women right there in those numbers. Out of all of them, he did not find not one good, righteous woman. So what makes your odds better than his? If this was the wisest man on earth and a king, what makes your odds better than him? And even on this side, man, we always use examples with these celebrities. All of them have been at the top, been with a woman, and we all see what happens. A sad story. The divorce, they get put on alimony and child support, or they still get cheated on. Look at Tom Brady, man. This guy was the greatest quarterback to ever live in our generation. Now, Patrick Mahomes getting up there too, but, Tom Brady was the, greatest of all time. Still, his wife Giselle still cheated on him with the personal trainer. A guy that had zero fame, $0 millions, nothing. Nothing. Didn't have no kids with that guy. She had a family with Brady, though. All these kids, family, all of that did not matter. It only took 2-minute conversation and a smile and a week from another man for her to think about that infantilized being with the personal trainer, lusting, and led to her cheating on Brady with him and a divorce. So you had a man that's 1 billion times more greater than Brady, and that was King Solomon. Probably history's most wealthiest man. They got a man in history you can read about called King Mansa Musa. Hey, he makes King Mansa Musa look like a bum on the street. Is how wealthy and great Solomon was. Solomon was that guy, man. Had the greatest temple, all of that. Riches, wisdom, many women as he wanted. And this is what he had to say about him. So what makes you any different, man? What makes your odds better, Jake? There's no amount that you can do. There's no amount of rings you can buy, houses you can put them in, serenading, time spent, affection, communication. There's not enough for none of these women on this planet Earth. They do not care. They care for the 5-second moments from whoever it comes from. And in those 5-second moments, they're willing to destroy and sabotage whatever they had with the previous guy. Okay? That is facts. That's the reality. And these men did not take heed to that warning understanding you tried to be taught about. Take heed, Jake. Take heed. Proverbs 27:5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. None of these men wanted to take any rebuke at all because you were overly blinded and obsessed with the money, your jobs, and your women. That's what it comes down to, man. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The full soul loatheth an honeycomb, but the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. As a bird that wandereth from her nest, so is a man that wandereth from his place. So a lot of y'all have wandered away from your place, and your place is supposed to be with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You sought the things of the world, so you get the worldly reward, which is only temporary. Some worldly rewards, they seem nice, but there are blessings and gifts from Satan. I did that lesson speaking on that. Hell, is your blessing coming from Satan or is it coming from the Lord? And a lot of y'all made the mistake of not discerning what you were getting the blessings from because you weren't discerning the actions you were doing to get that shit. You don't get to have good things from doing evil to people or coming against the Lord. So when you do start getting a lot of money and gifts out of taking that lifestyle, then you got to know that it's going to come with a tab that's going to eventually need to be paid. Satan will collect. He will collect. And you're not going to like it when he does. Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways that which destroyeth kings, man. The ways to time and time again where kings have been destroyed mostly has been by women. That's what it's been by, man. Pleasing them or seeking ways of the world to please them even further. Once you get to the point to where you understand this, you begin to feeling in your heart a sense of freedom. And you don't understand how much you be in chains over your life of, living in a world before the truth, and how much, was done and problems you get out of being with women. That's just what it is, man, But if you pray to Yahweh Bashim Shai for that wisdom and that guidance, he'll eventually open your eyes and you'll see, and you know how to move differently and what to expect when you do encounter women, or maybe you get a chance, you come across one that is really rocking for you. You know how to move and operate while dealing with her, and to know that eventually she's going to start going off, and you know how to manage that, and you got to really set certain boundaries and things that they have to understand and know when to let them go, because the odds, the math is against us when finding an actual good, decent woman. There's plenty of good men out there for these women. There's not plenty of good women out for the men. Every single woman in their heart, they believe that they are a good woman. They don't count the cost. They don't count the track records of things they've done. They don't count and really evaluate what it is they're bringing to the table. They just call themselves a table and leave it at that because they thought that sounded cool in the argument. I am the table. Yeah, bitch, you are. Some of y'all big of this damn table. But really, what are they really bringing? They bring a lot of baggage. They have multiple baby daddies. They bring toxicity to your life. They're toxic. They're very dangerous. They're violent. They're very manipulative. You can't pair bond. You're not bond compatible. They mentally don't really fall for you or aren't for you because they've fell for too many men. Too many men's dicks have fallen in them. So nothing feels genuine anymore. They lose that feeling of connection. It's just a chore. It's just something they're just doing. It feels good in the pleasure of the moment having sex. They don't really pair bond. They're not capable of pair bond with a lot of men. They bring all these issues. They don't count the cost of that. The body counts. The children they already got from other marriages and relationships or flings. The STDs. The financial burdens. The drama. The mental damages. All they got to say is on the table. And they feel that everything you do, that you need to help them in their situation, their life. They don't come with the mindset and mentality that they're there to enhance a man's life. They're looking to see how they can be enhanced, which is the wrong spirit to be in. So Don't give your strength to that. That is a way will destroy a king. And us as Israelite men were young princes and kings. And we must carry ourselves as such. And this is something the Lord, the scriptures is telling you. These are certain things that have destroyed kings. Okay? It deals with women and the love of money. Those are the main two culprits, man. Women and the love of money. But if you put the love of the Lord, then you are what you become what you want to attract. You want to attract a godly, kind woman, God fearing or somewhat, at least submissive. And you gotta be serving the Lord, man. For the angels look down and the Lord look down and say, hey, this guy, I think he deserves this. But you also have to remember we are under curses, man. We're under curses. So with that, you're trying to get a wife, which the law is, in order for a woman to get the status of a wife, she must be an Israelite. And all of our Israelite women are under that curse of being out of order. They're cursed. They're not going to, there's no amount of cussing them out and yelling on the phone that you can tell them to get right and stop what they're doing. There's no amount of arguing that you can do. That curse is the curse. You can't shake that. Yahweh Shai got to come back. So the women ain't going to get right until the kingdom. Until the kingdom, Isaiah 4:1 is going to happen on this side. So until some catastrophic world-ending shit goes on, like bombs going off in the sky and shit, and it ended up being like the Purge for real, or there's a lot of different movies, Civil War. Until that type of time comes in, they're not going to get any mentality of actually behaving the way they're supposed to. They're not. They have the freedom to leave you and liberty to leave you for other men as much as they want, as many times as they want, with zero consequences. So what's motivating them to listen to you? It's got to be the Lord. And if you ain't living right, then Satan's going to motivate them to do it, which that means it's temporary. Okay? So, with that, Lord's will, this lesson is edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to our apostles, elders, great millstone, taught us truth and will well. And salutation to you, hopefully pushing us truth and honest sincerity. Shalom.